had a lot of potential. Who told you that? Your grandmother? Cynthia muttered. Amused, Maeve took one last drag, while Geoffrey began sidestepping back and forth, completely out of time to the beat, clapping his hands as he went. See you later, she said, putting her cigarette out. Have fun, Geoffrey. Try not to pull a muscle. Thanks, he said, giving her a thumbs up while bopping his shoulders. Don't forget the rent this week, love, will you? Cynthia said, with a thin-lipped smile, tilting her head at Maeve. Only last time you were a day late, and I wish I could make exceptions, but it wouldn't be very fair on the others. I'll get it to you. Thanks, love. A couple of kids ran by, dodging past Geoffrey and almost getting hit in the face as he counted his star jumps. He lost his balance as they swerved round him, and he stumbled, his headband slipping down over his eyes. Oi! He yelled out after them as they ran off laughing, and wrestled the headband back up to his forehead. Watch it! I remember you at that age, Cynthia said to Maeve, with a drawn-out sigh. You were always getting into trouble around here, and your brother. No one to keep an eye on you both back then. What with your mother and her troubles. How is your brother? He all right? Great, thanks. Yeah, he's really well, actually. Oh, that's nice. Maeve pointed awkwardly at the door. Better get back to reading. Yes, nice story, that one. Cheeky little badger. Geoffrey suddenly stopped running on the spot. What badger? It didn't go in the caravan, did it? There is no badger, Geoffrey, Cynthia replied, narrowing her eyes at him in disgust. I said it was a cheeky little badger in the book Maeve's reading. See you, Maeve said, giving them a small wave. See you, love. Stepping back up into her caravan, Maeve smiled to herself as she heard Cynthia hiss, twat, at her husband, just before the door shut. Pulling her phone out of her pocket to check for messages, she felt a pang of disappointment that there were none. She'd lied to Cynthia about her brother, Sean. She hadn't heard from him in a while, and every time she checked her phone, she hoped by some miracle there might be a message from him, letting her know he was okay, or revealing where he was. She supposed she should be used to it by now. Her idiot brother disappearing for months wasn't exactly a new phenomenon, and it wasn't like she couldn't look after herself. But she missed him. Whatever. Shoving her phone back in her pocket, her eyes flickered to the table at the application form that she'd filled out last night. She stood there for a moment until a voice in her head went, Just do it. She went into her bedroom determinedly, grabbing her makeup bag and checking her reflection in the mirror. Reapplying her black kohl eyeliner, she thought about the sign in that bookshop window. Part-time bookseller wanted. Apply inside. Yesterday, she was walking past the shop with her school friend, Otis, and as she spotted it, she'd done a double take, stopping still on the pavement to read it properly. Her heart started racing. When she thought about getting a summer job, she assumed she'd end up working in the shopping centre at the milkshake place or the waffle stand. She hadn't considered that she might get a job doing something she'd actually enjoy, something she could be passionate about. Maeve, you can't stop suddenly like that, Otis had said, scurrying back to her side, as she stared at the sign, enraptured. I just carried on walking and chatting, and almost walked into the lamppost when I looked round to see where you'd gone. When she just started chewing her thumbnail without looking up at him in response, he took a moment to read the notice. Why don't you apply? You'd be great, he said, enthusiastically. Don't be a dickhead. Come on, let's go in. You can fill out an application form. I can't. Maeve's eyes dropped to the ground before she shook her head and marched away down the road. She had made it quite far before Otis caught up with her. Why not? Otis pestered. Why can't you apply for that job? Because they wouldn't want someone...